Hey everyone, Strider here, coming at you with another SWGOH video. I'ma skip the BS. I am warning you right now. This video is not for like 99% of people, okay? I've had people ask me, like, do you really spend that much time planning your GACs? And like, what's your process? There's a process. I spend more time than other people with lives and sanity should, but I'm going to just raw, unedited. I'm gonna do everything. I'm moving my defense around a little bit. I'll be thinking about it. I'll be scouting my next opponent. I'll be trying to come up with some kind of strategy that I think might work specifically for this opponent, although he's kind of big. He just has everything in the game, so it's less about strategy and just more about setting the bare minimum. But I'm going to show you the scouting, I'm going to show you the defenses, I'm going to show you the spreadsheet. And if that sounds boring, I love you so much, you can come back for the next video. Pain and suffering awaits both you and I don't know. If you're into this kind of thing, if you're curious how this goes for me on a daily basis when GAC is up and running, then stick around, have some fun with me. But here we go. Without further ado, of course, I've already got this guy pulled up. Did I fall in Squad Arena? I got 2 hours. I don't need to do that right now. Lord Petrus II do. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to be all schnazzy and whatnot. Galactic War. I don't think I've ever played someone. Maybe. What, he's got like 39? 642 divided by 43. Dude's been playing for 9 years. Dude picked this game up day one and he hasn't stopped. Which is, checks out with his roster. 9 GLs, 13 million. He's got like 58, 56. I don't know. He's got like more than 50 non-GLs over 300 speed, which low key for 9 years, you could be doing a little bit better, but he's still going to wipe the floor with me, probably. Datacron, he's got Datacrons. He's got all the ships. He's got all the characters. This is one of those kind of situations where there's only so much I'm going to be able to do. I'm just going to kind of get ahead of this. 590 on the Slicker. I mean, I've technically seen Slickers with 600, but I'm not going to give him crap for that. 584 on the JMK. I don't care about Leia. What's his Ray? How is his Ray modded? Full health. 260,000 base health. 523 speed could be better. The physical offense is actually pretty unintimidating. But that's a lot. Leia, why are you so slow, girl? 542. You could do better with a Leia right now. I'm not going to look at much more than this. I mean, he's got the world, and that's really all there is to it. So there he is, and as always, so we're going to move through the process. So I got him pulled up here. I like to take a look at his history. Now, this is unique to moving into a 5v5 season because we don't have data for the current season, and the closest we have is last season. If I'll go back. I'll explain what I do. I like to find a match where they got full cleared, because then you can see every single thing that they said on defense. I kind of don't care what they take on offense. I kind of do. But this is an example of, one where he got full cleared. So I check his attacks. Yeah, Seer, Malicos. That is interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Choices. He knows how to... Well, okay, remember this is old 5v5, so like we're looking at the Dengar Kron here, so a lot of this might not even be applicable in turn. Like he might not be using Afron Jabba. He shouldn't use Afron Jabba right now. C Watt on like a standard JML team. I don't know. What I'm looking for in attacks are like novice mistakes. So like he's not losing to Lord Vader with Bo-Katan. That's good. He did lose a character, but I mean, that happens sometimes. Malgus versus Great Mothers. Yep. Checks out. Treya versus Dengar Kron. It was a nasty Kron. I'm not going to give him too much crap for that. Yeah, whatever. We won't talk too much. Now this is an interesting one. He might have just been out of gas at this point. In no world do I think Radis against Malgus is going to work. Like, this makes me scratch my head and say, maybe there's capacity here for him to, not know what he's supposed to do. He knows how to do the Levy Mirror. Okay, fine. He used Executor on a Profundity. Fine. I don't know what he was expecting for Malevolence on Executor. Maybe this is exactly what he was expecting. Maybe he just wanted to kill Punishing One and be done with it. It ended up working out for him, so whatever. Nothing really strange. This is a really weird Palpatine team. I guess that's what he gets for putting Starkiller somewhere else. I don't know. Not what I would have done. He already had bad... Okay, all right. It doesn't tell me a whole lot, but there are some questionable things in here. I mean, he is in Kyber 2 at 13 mil, so, and now looking at his defense. So this is the baseline. This is what I'm going to start with. And so I have my spreadsheet that I update every single time. This was from last time. So I'm going to clear this out real quick. And this is my current defense. So if I want to change things, which I think I do, we're gonna do that as it comes. Am I still recording? Yeah, cool. Hey, what's up? Sometimes my camera craps out on me. I don't know why. I need more memory on my computer. TBH. But yeah, so step one is write the teams down, right? So they might change. It's a very good possibility here, but this is how we start planning. So bottom front, we got Balin, Lord Vader, Rey, and DTMG. So let's just put that there real quick. Balin, Lord Vader, Rey, DTMG. And I do want to call out that DTMG has with zombies. Because that, you can lose to DTMG with Sith Eternal if you get Blight on you. So don't do that. You learn from experience. Top, we've got Jabba QA. Okay, and then he started with someone went bottom. So let's do that. Jabba QA. I saw a Leia back here. A Reva, a Great Mothers. So, Reva, Great Mothers. And then we go back down to the back. We've got Grievous and Trench. Grievous Trench. And then he puts Radis, Profundity, and Negotiator on defense. So let's take a look at that. Radis, Profundity, Negotiator. And then right off the rip, I think I'm going to leave fleets the same because I think I have a decent chance at top. I'll need to think about this, though. You're going to see it. I need to think about this. And so the only, sometimes I'll reconsider fleets. I try not to in 5v5 because they're worth more. Top is worth more. And you can see I have the points here. So these two zones are worth 516. Woohoo. Back here, I spelled Grievous wrong. That's going to bug me. Back here, it's only 417 in total, but it's 456 for fleets. So if you can only go top or bottom, you should go top in 5v5. But most people should be full clearing, at this GP. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, Radis gets, Radis gets Profundity. Profundity gets Executor, and Negotiator gets Leviathan. That's a pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward matchup. And the reason I do this is I would rather guarantee fleets. I'd rather overkill fleets than, if I know I want to use Profundity on Radis, and if I know I want to use Executor on Profundity, well, I'm not just going to put a Leviathan on defense, because he's just going to mirror that, and then he's going to take the other two with ease, right? So if he's going to beat my fleets easily anyways, I'm just going to totally give him the fleets, and I'm going to make sure that I don't drop any banners over here. My fleets are one of the few things that I still need to kind of flesh out. My Empire fleet, it just doesn't work without Scythe. And I do have GI, but he's not on the list of things to do right now. Maybe that's a big enough argument. Maybe getting GI up to speed is what I should be doing right now so I can get a whole nother fleet. And I guess it would be another team because, GI, but Inquisitors without Reva, nah. So that's fleets. Those are the answers there. Now this is the part where I look at what he has set and I think about, okay, what do I really want to use, right? So for Queen Amidala, I typically use Great Mothers, and I'm confident with that. Jabba. Okay, before I proceed, this is the other thing that I want to do. So because it's a fresh season, I don't have data, right? And he has Ahsoka now. he did not have Ahsoka before. So if I go and look at his last 3v3, it's not exactly the same. I recognize that these things change, but he sets Rey, he sets Finzori. Okay, fine. My main question that I would look for here is, does he set Ahsoka? He does set Ahsoka. In my opinion, anyone with a brain is going to set Ahsoka somewhere on defense. And so, quite honestly, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, if I was him, which I'm not, if I was him and looking at his history, you know, maybe there were some questionable decisions. Because of that, I think he's going to leave Jabba on defense. I don't think he's on the cutting edge of strategy because of some questionable decisions I saw in his attacks. And that would tell me that he's probably not on the cutting edge of using his datacrons the way that most people are, which means he's probably going to leave Jabba on defense. I have to make that assumption. We can only make assumptions right now. Out of all these teams that he has set, I would guess that he would replace DTMG with the zombies with GLA. So I'm just going to put that there. I have no idea. If I was him, I would leave Rey. I would leave Lord Vader. I don't like Balin on defense, but he's good. He's good. Don't get me wrong. But I think he just has too many uses on offense, to be quite honest. And so that being said, if GLA is on defense, well, this is the part where I say, okay, what kind of a quality GLA are we looking at here? So let's go Spectre. And the question is going to be, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about this in consideration of, will my Slicker be able to do it? Or will I need to Leia it? And it might not matter based on how many GLs he sets. I might not have a choice here. She could be faster. Okay, the thing is, Leia herself doesn't really matter. It's the rest of the team. Ezra, what are we looking at? 346. He's not neglected. General Syndulla, 303. It could be better. Hu Yang, we got Zetas. Hu Yang is neglected. So is mine, but an account this size, I don't know if I could get behind that. Sabine is neglected. So what this tells me is that GLA could probably be handled with Slicker. The question is, do I want to use Slicker for anything else? And so I'm going to start by putting Slicker on GLA, assuming he's putting GLA on defense. But I'm going to need to think about that. I'm going to need to make sure that I can actually get through this. Great Mothers. What have I been using on Great Mothers? I think last time I used Leia on them. I don't really encounter... Okay, well, here we go. This is why we do this. You get to see the whole process. Duplicate SWGOH. Let's go Great Moth. There they are. And I believe his Great Mothers that he sets. We'll go back to his history. We'll go back to where he lost. We will find his Great Mothers. And I believe he uses the... Yeah. Morgan, Marin, Spirit, and I don't care about the 5th. I don't care about Asajj. So let's go 5v5. What are people using to beat Morgan, Spirit, Marin, and I don't care about the 5th, right? So people are using JMK. They're using GAS. Malgus is probably where I want to go with this, but my Malgus team could be better. Traya. I don't know exactly how this works, but this could be an answer. I could think about Traya. I do take Traya on offense. Malgus looks more consistent, and I'm more familiar with the Malgus team. And so, tentatively, we're going to say Malgus goes to GM. Reva. So, normally... Oh, this might be... Okay. So, normally, I use Bane on a Reva, or I use Bane on a Lord Vader. I don't think I'm necessarily going to have that luxury. I can't scoundrel the Lord Vader. I might need to try to do that on Jabba, unfortunately. This might mess up my defense even more. There's an alternative here where I use Malgus on Reva. That's relatively consistent. Okay. We're switching it up. I've never done Traya on Great Mothers, but I think that's what I have to do to split this. Jabba would likely get JMK, which means Bane would go to Lord Vader. Baylan. Gonna need to think about Baylan for a second here. Now, technically, I still have Leia, but I want to find a way to get Leia back on defense if I can. If he puts Ezra with GLA, as he should... Where's his rate? If he puts Ezra with GLA as he should, there's an acceptable chance that I can Star Killer his Rey. If he really does still use Baby Cal with Rey, the shock should be enough to curb that. So I don't love it, and it presents a risk. But we're going to start with a Star Killer on the GLA. Now we move on to Baylan. What does he set? Baylan, Marok, Shin, L3, and Hondo. So let's go do that. Baylan, Marok, Shin, L3, Hondo. And yeah, I mean, it's not where I want to use my Leia. I could Jabba it somehow. These aren't amazing win rates. Sith Eternal is barely acceptable. Oh my God, C Bane with the 84%. These don't look amazing, and the JMLs are struggling even with Cal, and I don't have Cal. If we're going to JMK the Jabba, the only other thing I could... Well, I can't JMK the Baylan. Baylan beats JMK. I can't believe anyone's trying that. This is not where I wanted to use Leia. Ooh, and the problem is... he's got a Leia. Okay. I would probably be Jabba-ing the Leia. Baylan is the question mark. I still have a Baylan of my own. Who would I consider bringing for Baylan? I'm not convinced C. Watt is bringing me a ton of value here. I should find a use for C. Watt somewhere. 'Cause it ain't defense, by the way. Let me go. We're still on Baylan. Let me go for a leader of Sith Eternal. Let me add in Watt. A lot of these Hundo Percentos are using really gimmicky teams with lots of taunts. And I know what that is. That's, you know, Sith Eternal trying to get his way around to just survive until he ults, basically. But there's a lot of taunts, there's a lot of gimmicks, and wow, I just noticed that win rate just plummets right about here. What's that about? Is there anything consistent in these wins aside from gimmicks? There's DACA, there's Zombie, Gamguard, Watt. I mean, what seems to be consistent is that someone is taunting. Someone is taunting, someone's taking the heat. off of Sith Eternal. I'm just concerned about how much damage they have, truly. This might be my best answer, though. And so I'm going to change this from, C watt plus question mark. I'm not confident. I'm really, really, really not confident. But I think it's the answer. This is a tough opponent. This is a really tough opponent for me. I still haven't used GL Leia, or I haven't set her aside to be used. Grievous, they don't have his stop doesn't have the Omicron. Stop. And he got wampa'd. That's what I'm gonna lean towards on Grievous, and I believe Phoenix can take Trench. What do we got? Trench, Newt, GBA, Dooku, and Django. Let's go get Trench. Trench, Dooku, Newt, Django, GBA. All right, what's left? I'm already using Starkiller Jabba. Oh yeah, I got JML. I do have JML. JML's kind of a contingency, but I feel like I don't need that because, yeah, I've done this before. Phoenix does a really good job, honestly. What happens here? What's the problem? Who goofed on this? Well, it's a sample size thing. So, like, technically it's less than 100%, but these 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, this is 37. Someone's going to flop, right? Someone's going to fail on this. And so this is an example of, okay, my Phoenix aren't amazing, but the members that I need to be good, they are, where it counts. And so this is one where I would look at his mods and I'd say, all right, let's go find his separatists. Where is he? How's your Trench? All right, he's not completely abandoned, but he's fine. Newt, fine. Dooku, nothing to talk about. Django, fine. And last but not least, Alpha. Alpha's fine. Better than most Alphas. He's got some gold mods on there. So for this, I would say, yeah, I'm pretty confident that my Phoenix can handle that Trench. And so we're not done. This isn't where this stops. I like to build in a buffer, or I like to, make sure that I've got enough going on where, if something fails, do I have something that could pick up the pieces or do it entirely? And so this is the part where I think about, okay, of all these matchups that I've decided that I'm probably going to engage, right? Also, DTMG with zombies. I'm making an assumption that he's taken DTMG off of defense. He could do something like, yes, put GLA up front, but then, replace that crappy Grievous in the back with DTMG. So I do need to also be thinking about, is there potential for DTMG to come around? Now, because of that, Baylan does a great job against DTMG. Baylan, I generally prefer him on offense. And so I think Baylan is going to be one of my contingencies, specifically because I usually bring him on offense anyways, and because DTMG could still be hanging around somewhere, and Baylan is a good answer for that. If I've predicted correctly, Baylan is still a really good option for a lot of things here. Baylan can absolutely clean up whatever Starkiller leaves on Rey. He can walk all over a Grievous, a Trench. He can wipe the floor with a GLA if this guy for some reason decides to put Fulcrum. Oh, that's another thing. Baylan is a death sentence. If he has Fulcrum Kron, he's used Fulcrum Kron with Fulcrum in the past. If he screws up and he puts Fulcrum on defense somewhere, it's a free win for Baylan. So that's another good reason to bring Baylan on offense. So then the next question becomes, okay, I've solved for this. This could still be here. DTMG could still be there. That's solved with Balin. So I'm bringing Balin, and he's good anyways as a backup. Now we start thinking about other things here. Well, JML sucks on defense. So JML is probably going to be my other contingency kind of keeper. The main problem with JML is that he kind of sucks. And even though I'm calling him like a contingency kind of guy, there's not a lot here that I can think of that JML would like. JML versus Ray, he might clean her up, but he's really not great against like a standard Ray lineup. He's fine. He's way better with JKCK, who I don't have, by the way. JML could do the Lord Vader, and I could save Bane as a contingency. So let me think about that. And this is the part where I say, all right, fine. Let's go look at his Empire. How's your Lord Vader doing? I'm sure he's fantastic. Oh my God. 225 protection with 581 speed. How's his Maul? Maul isn't even Empire. Who else would be here? How's your Piet? Rocket fast. It's not happening. This isn't for my JML Maul. Yeah, God mods 325, fantastic offense. Yeah, this isn't so like my JML. It's not an option. I need to Bane his Lord Vader, and that's all there is to it. So JML is a contingency, air quotes, but he's a scary contingency because my JML is not great. The only other really relevant teams that I could bring on offense are gonna be Leia and Dash. There's a good argument for the good argument for Dash would typically be Jabba. I'm gonna JMK the Jabba. I'm more comfortable JMKing the Jabba. So other than that, there are some reports of him beating GLA. I don't know if he could take a Leia. Probably not, because there's a lot of irresistible debuffs on Leia. And I'm relatively comfortable with Jabba versus Leia anyhow, although I don't do that very often. All right, so we'll back it up. We'll think about, of the matchups that I've selected, what is most likely to go wrong? Okay. Wampa versus Grievous. My Wampa could be better. I'd be more concerned if he had a high health cron, if he had a droid cron, if his stop had the Omicron. He doesn't. So this probably won't fail. But if it does, I can JML that. We'll see what Wampa does. I don't know. That's tricky. If Wampa gets a couple of kills, JML can clean it up. But Grievous is like notoriously kind of a JML counter. I don't know how much brain power goes into that counter, but that might be doom. Jabba versus Leia, I'm going to go out of my way and I'm going to say I don't think it's that much of a risk. This is one where, like, Leia's too strong. If I don't have an answer for that, I lose, and I'm okay with that. Balin could go wrong. Balin could go really wrong, and I'm mostly just hoping... How does this work? How does Sith Eternal Watt work? Because mercenary allies are immune to instant defeat. So why does Sith Eternal even have great... Because off the top of my head, I was thinking, yeah, sure, I'll insta-kill 2 of them. But no, I won't. I won't insta-kill 2 of them. Oh, boy. And there's no sample data for the Dash Cron. There's no sample data for the Dash Cron against a Balin. So I don't know if bringing Dash is good. I'm thinking about Leia. I still have Leia, but I really, really, really want to put my Leia on defense. Get that out of here. I really want to put my Leia on defense. How did this go away? But Leia is a really good contingency plan for anything. Leia is the one answer where if any of these fail, I can do what I need to do with Leia. I could Leia the GLA. I probably should be Leia-ing the GLA, to be honest. But we're going to Slicker it. Because I still think Leia on defense is stronger than Slicker on defense. So if I had to pick between one of the two for attacking, I would pick Slicker so that Leia could go on defense. Traya and friends against Great Mothers. Okay, so this is a decent example. I don't know how this works. If Traya and friends against Great Mothers loses, I'm not going to have a ton of answers. Balin is actually really rough against Great Mothers. JML isn't great. I'm using Malgus on Reva. Let me look at his Reva too, because his Reva might be a little too good. Reva, how you doing? How you doing, babe? You're thick. 295. Not offense though. That's kind of nice. GI, he's got offense. 322. He's blazing, as he should be. 7th. She has not been neglected. She's pretty fast. 8th. Blazing. This could be trouble. This could be trouble for my Malgus team, honestly. There is a lot. There's a lot that could go wrong here. And I think I need to bring Leia on offense. I think that's all there is to it. There's too many. This could go wrong. I would basically need Leia. This could go wrong. I would basically need Leia. This could go wrong. Leia could suck. Leia's not fun against Reva. We would not want to cleanse. I don't think Great Mothers versus QA is going to go wrong. I'm going to go for Queen Amidala instead of Pow going forward. JMK versus Jabba, not a ton of capacity for that to go wrong. Bane versus Lord Vader, it's pretty safe. Starkiller versus Rey, Bane could figure it out. Slicker versus GLA, his GLA team is just missing a lot of what it wants, specifically like in the form of Sabine. So I'm not too worried about Slicker versus GLA, but yeah, like if Jabba versus Leia for some reason failed, I need Leia. There's just too many of these where the cleanup answer is Leia. So I think my contingencies here are going to be Balin, JML, and Leia. That leaves me pretty light, and it requires me to kind of put Dash and company hiding on the back wall, which I think I would replace Geonosians, because I might want Geonosian Alpha with Sith Eternal Watt for this Balin thing. I still don't really know how this is supposed to work. This is really scary. Without the insta-kills, I just have no clue. Let's go back. Balin. GAC. 5v5. Let's just do Marok and Shin, and I really don't care who else is there. It's usually going to be Hondo. Sith Eternal. Yeah, no. Sith Eternal and Bane works. We know that. Sith Eternal and Watt. Did I get him? Yeah, there he is. The rates are good. It's just that the sample size is really small. This is fun. Don't know what's going on here with Darth Sidious. Like, things like this are why I say, okay, clearly there's something I'm missing here. Something is going on where these guys just fall over. They didn't have the Mercenary Kron last season. And I mean, I don't think he would use JKCK. She's a smuggler, right? She counts as a smuggler. Yeah. I guess he could put a Bando Kron, but he doesn't have BT, yeah, that's droids. Is Nest a smuggler or mercenary? I always forget. This set is weird. Droid. I mean, he doesn't even have the Merc Kron from what I can see, unless there's one hiding over here. Oh, that's smugglers. Yeah, how about this? Yeah, he does have a Merc Kron, and if he puts that on them, they're going to be that much more dangerous. I might have to do Balin on the fly. It might just depend on what he sets, but I might want to bring GBA with my CWAT. And so Geonosians are going to go away, and Dash and Random Scoundrels are going to go over here on defense, and I think everything else is going to stay the same. And so we're going to go in here. We're going to go over here. We're going to edit our defense. Yeah, and yep, Geos go away. And now, do I want the Toxic Dash? So the problem with Toxic Dash is that it requires me to cannibalize CLS. And if I cannibalize CLS, there's not a lot going on there. However, I'm going to cannibalize CLS. I'm going to put him down here to know it updates my sheet so that it doesn't think that I have CLS available. But Dash and Random Sky, we're going to say Smugglers, though. Just to be sure. Dash and Random Smugglers are going to go there. And then I think I'm going to put Enoch and Friends up here. And hopefully that pulls something. But it's usually just a free CLS. No, you know what I'm going to do? Just kidding. I'm going to put Enoch and Friends on the back, and I'm going to put Tuskens up front. Great. I think this is the answer. And so now I'm in the back. Let's get rid of Tuskens. And let's start adding. We'll go Smuggler. We will do Dash. Where are my boys at? Wait. Huh? Hold on. Sana. Yup. There's the one. That's the one that I use. It's Sana with the Smuggler level 6. I thought Han and Chewie. I guess they're not actually smugglers, which sounds stupid. But everyone's using Han and Chewie with this team. We know it's got to be Sana. Right? Let me look at her unique, see if the order matters. Yeah, I don't think I care. Gosh, who else would I put here who wouldn't just be garbage? I guess my Balin doesn't absolutely need Hondo, but I do like Hondo. But Hondo could probably cause some trouble on this team unless they just overkill it, which is totally possible. Totally possible. But given that I'm bringing Balin on offense and given that Hondo is not like numero uno on that team, I guess I'll keep him here. And then I guess we go to Rebel and we do Han and Chewie. Yo, where am I blind? Oh my god, it's because they're on my front wall. Of course they're smugglers. That's like why it works. I'm sitting here like, what is going on? CLS gets dropped, we'll fix the front wall. I knew they were smugglers. I'm like, come on, dude. Alright. Like, since when were they not? You. Does it matter where Chewbacca gets placed? Yeah, Chewbacca. When Chewbacca. Loyal friend. Yeah, fine. Okay. Chewbacca, Han, Dash. That's great. Sana has to be there. And then I do still think I want to use Hondo. That's probably going to cause... Yeah, there you go. There's your 5 smugglers. Have fun with it. Hopefully that does something for me. And then what else did I say? I wanted to put Enoch back here. So the reason I want to put Enoch back here is because I want them to burn CLS on something up here. CLS is a pretty good counter for Omicron Qui-Gon. So I would like him to maybe burn that here. And that's because CLS is a good counter for Enoch. So I want to try to pull his CLS. So we'll do Enoch, Zombie, Scout, and... I don't know if I want Death. What's my Death? And whenever Death 25... I don't know if this team is going to throw someone off enough to justify giving them this Kron. I usually like giving this Kron to my Slicker. Believe it or not, I do. I know. It's sacrilege. GLA. Do I care what GLA is going to do? My Slicker is going to go first. He's going to stun Ezra. Who do I care about getting ahead of that? Maybe I don't care. Maybe I don't care. Maybe something else is acceptable for my Slicker. I need my Tusken Kron. That's going to go with my Tuskens. Shocking. Health, tenacity. This one comes with my Jabba. So I can't get rid of that. Dash Kron. I'm just thinking about my Slicker. What about this? Could I use this for my Slicker? No, that'll kill him slowly. This is acceptable for this team. What would I use Death Trooper for if he wasn't here? I would like to use him with Veer's Imperial Troopers. That might be a decent cleanup for something, so I'm probably going to go lazy and just put my TIE Fighter pilot. What is this mod doing on him? That's something. I can see why I dumped it on him. I'm going to go with this is acceptable. And that's what we're doing there. Now, what else did we just say? What are we... Oh, we're putting Tuskens up front. Tuskens up front. I think I made a team for them. There you go. There's where you're hiding out. Who was at the bottom there? Who's got purple gear down here at the bottom? Oh, yeah, this is madness. Yeah, we're working on our UFUs, by the way. There you go, Tuskens. All right. You know the general strategy. So I put this team up front because there's not a lot of data for it, and I want them to overcommit. Because you can use a Galactic Legend to just beat this team, and I think people might try that just because there's no data and they don't want to drop. It's very possible. Rogue One is just here because I don't need Rogue One for anything else immediately. That is literally it. Yes. Qui-Gon, you know, sometimes he steals banners. This is a crappy Qui-Gon team, but I need my other Galactic Republic for other things. Tuskens are just, you know, it's not great, but it's something. This is what I'm 10 million GP. I gotta save some stuff for offense. GLA, yeah, I mean this is your vanilla GLA comp. I don't have alt. I don't know how much that matters to people. I mean, her alt is good, but I feel like people are gonna still try to use the same things that they always use anyways. Queen Amidala, it demands a Bane. The main problem with this is there's nothing else he would use. Like, really, there's nothing else he should need Bane for. Unless he wants to Sith Eternal Bane the GLA, but I don't think he should. So, yeah. I don't know. This is just as difficult as I can make it for him with all the things that I plan on taking on offense. So, this is the plan. And if anything doesn't work out, I have Balin, I have Leia, and I have JML. If it still doesn't work out after that, it just wasn't meant to be. I would say the things that I'm concerned with the most going into this, that there's just nothing I can really do anything about, are going to be Balin, are going to be Great Mothers, for sure, because I don't know why this works. I don't know how this works. I don't know what causes the most trouble. Malgus versus Reva, because his Reva team is well modded, and my Malgus team could be better. Starkiller versus Rey could go wrong. but I'm feeling good. There's something in my brain that says I'm feeling good about Starkiller versus Rey, so I don't want to think too much on that. That's it for now. This is what I do. This is what I do every single time. How long have we been recording? Does it even say? We've been recording for 45 minutes. So I would say this is like one of the worst ones because a lot of times my opponents will set, I don't want to say a light defense, but there aren't so many things I need to deal with. Like, for example, for some reason, I don't usually see Reva and Lord Vader. And so whichever one gets set, I just use Bane on it and I'm done. Because there's a Reva and a Lord Vader, I have to come up with a solution for one of them. I don't see a lot of Balins. I don't see a lot of GLAs yet, although I've been seeing them lately. I don't see a lot of Leias on defense. If I do, I normally like Sith Eternal Bane it, but that's not a thing right now because I need both of them separately. So there was a lot to think about this time. And let's go ahead and save our file for obvious reasons. There's a lot to think about this time, but I think we'll get through. It might not be pretty, but I think we'll get through. And what really matters here is efficiency. So it's going to come down to banners with this one because he should be able to clear me. Like, unless a miracle happens and he really fumbles on GLA, he should be able to clear me. And I'm actually half convinced that we don't know what he sets now, right? I don't know that he puts GLA on defense. He should. He probably does. There's a chance that because GLA is now on defense for me, a lot of people are taking Leia off defense on their end. And so who knows? Maybe I could Jabba the Balin, but I won't know that because he usually puts Leia on his back wall. So I can't assume that Leia's not there. It's tricky. It's tricky. But yeah. If you're sick like me, I hope you enjoyed this. Not gonna post these on a frequent basis, if ever again. But this is what I do every time. So it lasted about 45 minutes. And I would say this was a relatively complicated one. I had to switch up some things on defense. I had a lot to think about on offense in terms of like contingency planning and trying things that I don't usually do with Reva and Great Mothers. So, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time. If you enjoyed this, you're insane, but I'll see you all next time.